We're set bond in the amount of $500 on the trespass. Point of public defender.
No return?
No return to 1045 29th Street. The property or inside the church. Tyrell Staffine.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Staffine, you're here today for arraignment. And in this case, the State of Florida alleges that on or about the 1st of November of 2022 in Orange County, Florida, you did in violation of Florida statute 800.031A1 expose or exhibit your sexual organs in a public place or on a private premises of another, or so near thereto to be seen from such private premises. In this case, it's 612 Indiana Street, in a vulgar or indecent manner, or expose or exhibit your person in such place. So it's an exposure of sexual organs misdemeanor. You do have the Office of the Conflict Counsel appointed already in your case. I will enter a not guilty plea, and we'll set that for pretrial in Division 62. And that information will be sent to your attorney who's been appointed, and they'll make sure that they get in contact with you. Okay? Yes. That's good news. Thank you for that, President. So that'll be in front of me, actually. It's being transferred because for some reason we're closing criminal divisions and civil numbers are going down and the criminal numbers are not. But okay, you know. Did I say that out loud?
And on the record.
Oh, they believe me, in the courthouse, they know how I feel about this issue. It's been discussed. This one, it was done in secret. It's just all of a sudden, there's someone coming in the division and we noticed the cases were starting to leak over. That wasn't even discussed. We weren't even told. Because they knew, don't tell them, it's easier. Your name, ma'am?
Acacia Wynn.
All right, Ms. Nguyen, you're here today for arraignment on a battery domestic violence charge. State alleges that on the 30th day of October of 2022 in Orange County, Florida, you did in violation of Florida statute 784.031A1 or 784.031A2 commit a battery upon a person identified as Arkell Brantley, and in furthers that battery, you did actually intentionally touch or strike Arkell Brantley against their will or did intentionally cause bodily harm to them. State attorney also alleges that Arkell Brantley at that time was a family or household member in accordance with the Florida statute 741.28. So this is a domestic violence battery. I will enter a not guilty plea. We'll accept your not guilty plea. We'll set that for pretrial in Division 50. You do it, go ahead.
Oh, January 6th at 9 o'clock?
You do have a public defender, and the public defender will be in contact with you. Your name, 1-4.
Jared Burns refused.
I will waive your honor.
Mr. Burns' case, I did find sufficient probable cause. Will set bond in the amount of $250. Appoint a public defender.
No return without a valid ticket?
Yes, no return to OIA without a valid ticket or business, or valid business. Your name, sir?
John Linton Chancellor.
All right, Mr. Chancellor, you're here today because you were arrested on 3 charges. 1, assault on a law enforcement officer. Number 2, intimidation by threat or threat with death or serious bodily injury. 2 counts of that. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Count 1, the bond is $2,500. Count 2 and 3 are $1,000 apiece, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. If you do bond out, you're not to return to, you don't live at the 1642 Killian Court, do you?
Yes, sir.
Where does, we don't have a name.
Cindy Farber,
Yeah, where does she live?
1642 Colleen Court.
So she lives there too.
Yes, sir.
Do you want no contact with her?
Um,
Not technically not the victim, but,
According to the affidavit, Your Honor, they're exes.
right. So, okay. No drugs, no weapons, no guns, no alcohol. All right,
Yes, sir.
all righty.
Did you say I can or cannot?
You can, that's fine.
Thank you, sir.
Roderick Ellis bonded,
All right.
Clifford Grant Sutton refused.
I will waive, Your Honor.
Gonna take this personal, he's gonna wanna come see me. All right, on Grant Sutton, bond be set in the amount of $500 on the resisting, $100 on trespass, point of public defender, no return to, looks like 2103 Ravenel Avenue.
Refused.
He was watching TV, it's probably some big World Cup fan. Liz Mara Reyes? All right, Ms. Reyes, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause set upon the amount of $500. I think the issue is that you were living at 5116 Lynette Street,
I'm still living there.
and Kia Dalez Lopez, she also lives
Just
there?
moved in.
What's that?
She had just moved in.
So she was living there. What about Yolanda LV?
Yolanda's there too. That's the two ladies that I got into it with.
Yeah. Well, I'm in order that you not have any contact with Yolanda LV or Kia Dalez Lopez, and the problem is that you're gonna have to go somewhere else. Can you find another place to live?
Yeah, I already have one.
You do?
lady-
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Yes.
So you're not to have any contact with them.
Right.
Maintain separate residence, not to return to 5116 Lynette Street, although you can go back one time if your stuff is still there.
Okay.
So you got to take law enforcement, but you can go one time, get your stuff, and then that's it, okay?
You want me to call law enforcement before I go?
Yes, and they'll go with you to make sure there's no trouble,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
And again, it's a $500 bond. You don't have to have any contact. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, okay? And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there any way I can get help with the bond? I have no money right now at all.
Maybe someone will be kind to you. I don't know what else to tell you. You can speak to the public defenders. They may be able to file a motion.
Your Honor, it looks like, if I could, with pretrial, it looks like you stated you were, no one answered the phone. If someone answered the phone, could we see if she would qualify?
Yeah, if she qualifies. So I'll, you can give it another try.
Or-
Yep. Or PTR, yeah, if she qualifies.
Thank you.
So you may qualify for PTR. If you do, then you wouldn't have to worry about the bond.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Timothy Pollard refused.
I will waive, Your Honor.
What was his state misdemeanors? All right, bond sent to, and it's to $250 for that. Oh, I think it's resisting, yeah. All right, point of public defender to represent Mr. Pollard.
George Singleton, his mental health.
Okay.
I,
You want want to try for it tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yes,
All
sir.
right, let's roll him till tomorrow, see if we can get him pled. Maybe he'll feel
Oh,
better.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, he's probably not gonna be here tomorrow. I will waive the appearance.
All right. Then I do find sufficient probable cause for resisting, and set bond 250, point of public defender. Ronnie Fudge. All right, Mr. Fudge, you're here today because you failed to appear in a couple cases. First, in 2020 CT 3367, a drive one license suspended. And they're, hang on a second,
If I do both, I'm asking for an adjudication.
no bond on a DeWillis?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, this one, yeah,
Oh, yeah, sure, adjudicate both then.
Okay. Just one.
like it failed to about 3 or 4 times, that's the problem. There's no bond on that.
Your Honor, the offer from the state as to both cases is an adjudication, credit time served, and court costs. Mr. Fudge would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest. We did go over the H2O, and he understands that and would still like to resolve it.
Yeah, you have a 2019, actually, let's see, that's 4-6, so that's outside. I could amend the disposition on the infraction, driving while suspended from 2019, and then the 2 convictions wouldn't habitualize them.
Okay. I would actually let you do that, Your Honor. He was actually in the process of working to get his license. If you look, he was paying some of the fine fees.
Okay, just a second. Okay, so first of all, in case number 2010 is what happened as he paid this ticket. Obviously, it's old, to try to get his license back. So in 2010 TR 8697 AA, court will amend that disposition to reflect a withhold of adjudication. No change in sanction. And let's see, nunc pro tunc that back to 11/1/2019. As to that, and then that'd be a withhold, so then he'd only have the 2 strikes and he can still fix his license. Okay? All right, so Mr. Fudge, on the 2 cases that you have with us today, the one that you failed to appear in and then the other driving while suspended, you wanted to enter pleas of no contest, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
Read over your plea form, understood the rights, and signed it on the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Any questions about the rights on that form?
No, sir.
All right, you understand that this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea may result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yes, sir.
All right. I do find sufficient factual basis based on my review of your driving record as to 2020 CT 336AE. What was the agreement, adjudications or withholds?
Adjudication.
A judge guilty of that offense, time served, court costs, and a $50 cost of prosecution. As to 2022 CT 1433AW, judge you guilty of that, time served, court costs, $50 cost of prosecution. Those sentences run concurrent with one another, and I'll give you 24 months to pay off those 2. Pay a little at a time, all at once, as long as it's paid within 24 months. All right, you'll be released as to those 2 cases. And again, I've amended that one, so if you get a notice from Tallahassee that you've been habitualized, and you contact the public defender's office, that they may have to take a second look, but that should keep it from happening, okay?
You're welcome.
What's that? I don't know, I guess, yeah, we may need an order, I don't know. Usually they just put it in the court minutes. Can you generate court minutes for that case number 2010? Okay. All right. Obenson, Manny?
Yes.
Any? Okay. All right, sir, you're here today for two matters. First of all, State of Florida, one, you were arrested on charge of operating a motor vehicle on the streets and highways of Orange County, Florida, while it was not properly registered. And then the second, you were operating a motor vehicle on the streets and highways of Orange County, Florida, while at the time the tag that was attached to the vehicle was not assigned to the vehicle. So it's two cases. Do you find sufficient probable cause for both?
And the offer from the state as to both is a withhold of adjudication, credit time served, and court cost. Mr. Manning would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
All right. Sir, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today? Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No.
All right, this plea form has your signature. You understood all the rights. Do you have any questions about the rights on the form?
No question.
You understand that both of these are punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen. Understand? All right. As to 2022 CT 6896 AO, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will, as a withhold, it's adjudication.
Withhold, Your Honor.
Withhold adjudication, impose court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution and time served. As to 6897, I'll withhold adjudication, impose court costs, $50 cost of prosecution, sentence to time served. And those sentences run concurrent with one another, and I'll give you 24 months to pay that off. It's going to be, it should be 602 total. Your name, ma'am?
Green Angel.
You're here today because you're arrested on a charge of shooting from a vehicle. I have read the charging affidavit. Do you find there's sufficient probable cause? I guess. And bond is set in the amount of $5,000. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
No contact with the co-defendants, Your Honor?
Yeah, you're to have no contact with, I can't remember his name. Andres, no, that's not it.
Darium Longstreet.
Yes. No contact with Darian Longstreet.
No weapons, no firearms?
No weapons, no firearms, no guns, no drugs, no alcohol.
Your Honor, do you only have one case for her?
I
have a
only see
second
one on
case.
here, but I do see that it looks like there is a 2022 CF 11265 BO.
Is that what you have?
Oh, I have 12811. It's,
Yes, isn't that the one that we just did?
no, I
Oh,
thought,
She was already seen, they just added on the shooting.
okay, so which one is it? That's the one that was heard today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the other one we've already heard? Thank you.
okay.
Fred, Delane, refused.
I will waive, Your Honor.
All right. In 2022 CF, in that case, we'll set bond on count one, $1,000, 100 count two, 100 count three, appoint a public defender to represent him. And he's out on bond on another possession of cocaine. Was that filed?
Yes, Your Honor, arraignment is set for the 13th.
I revoke that bond. And appoint a public defender if he doesn't have one in that case. Roderick Chambers? All right, Mr. Chambers, you were arrested on two charges of lewd and lascivious behavior or exhibition. And I have read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause in those cases. Do you want to be heard as to bond state?
No, Your Honor, he is entitled to bond.
It will be 5,000 count one, 5,000 count two. And were you living at the 980 Lombard Street? No? Okay. Can't return there. You're not to have any contact with your grandchildren. And that is Roger, I guess, young Roger Williams and Rosiah, R-O-Z-I-A Williams. No contact with them, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Appoint a public defender on that case. And there's two cases that you're out on bond. Looks like that one of them is from, those couldn't be filed on yet, right?
I apologize, I didn't even see those. Your Honor, do you have a second case, 22 CF 14094, possession of cocaine and drug paraphernalia?
I have those as, I have the possession with intent, but I don't see the other one. Hang on. Yes, I do see that. Okay. And on the possession of cocaine, I do find sufficient probable cause as to the possession of cocaine. Bond set in the amount of $1,000, $100 on the drug paraphernalia. Appoint a public defender on that as well. And then there's the other two brand-new cases. I'll leave those bonds in place.
No action?
No action.
Okay.
What's that? Yeah. Yeah. Travis Daniels?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Daniels, you hear you're arrested on a charge of possession of cannabis within 1,000 feet of a convenience store business and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. I do have a question about the within 1,000 feet. I didn't see anything in there, at least in this affidavit. There's some
Yeah.
reference to another affidavit.
Your Honor, the first three lines, it talks about this happened at the mobile gas station.
Says a digital device search warrant was authored and signed and contact was made with the store manager at the mobile gas station, RC store, for a sworn written statement reference to additional charges for the defendant. But it doesn't say, because it says, I mean, I see what you're saying, that potentially that was what it would mean, but it says they conducted a follow-up investigation reference, street-level drug dealing, narcotics arrest that was made on November 29th. Then they say they were doing a digital device search warrant and contact was made with the mobile gas station. But it doesn't say that there was anything done within 1,000 feet. And even if it did, just say, doesn't say how close to that mobile this would have occurred. And my guess is that it may very well be in the initial report, says, because it does indicate that this is a follow-up. I mean, for the second count, I don't have any issue. It's clear from the text messages and whatnot. But all of this stuff where it talks about search incident arrest, it doesn't say how close to any convenience store.
Understood, Your Honor. But even without the convenience store, do you agree that there is enough for intent to sell?
Yes,
Okay.
without a doubt.
Will that then change the bond amount?
Yes. Possession with intent, a possession of cocaine with intent is not going to be 15,000.
Okay.
It would be 5 because of the amounts.
It was cannabis, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Okay. did you want to allow the state 24 hours or just find that there is enough for the sale and delivery?
I'm gonna just go ahead and find probable cause for possession of cannabis with intent. I'll make that bond 5,000, 150 on the unlawful use, and appoint a public defender. Now, let's see, we also have,
I would still ask for no return, Your Honor.
oh yeah, no return to,
The mobile gas station.
even though,
Even though,
but it does say, so no return to 5210 Silver Star Road.
Your Honor, he doesn't want the PD, he's hiring a private.
Who'd you hire?
I don't know yet, it's in the process.
Okay, all right. All right, well, I mean, we could appoint a public defender, and then when you hire someone, they could withdraw. That way you got someone working on it in the meantime, or at least in there, but that's up to you. No? Okay. All right. Refuse the PD. Your name, ma'am?
Samantha Fox.
Ms. Fox, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of grand theft, third degree, 2 counts of grand theft, third degree. And I have reviewed the charging affidavit. There is sufficient probable cause. The bonds on those are $500 apiece. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. You are on bond on a possession of methamphetamine, or ROR. Looks like it's from 7/2. That was filed on?
one moment. Yes, Your Honor, pretrial is set for February 22nd.
Given that it's a nonviolent offense, Your Honor, I would ask that you, if you are inclined to revoke, you revoke in double as opposed to holding her at no bond.
My concern is that they had to kind of track her down. She was there, then she disappeared, and then they had to find her again. And I'll revoke the ROR and set bond at $5,000 on that case that she's out on,
So, can I,
possession of meth.
thank you.
Your name, sir?
Darian Longstreet.
All right, Mr. Longstreet, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of shooting from a vehicle. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Bond is set in the amount of $5,000. I'm going to order that you, if you do bond out, you're not to have any contact with the co-defendants in this case. And there's 3 of them. Already forgotten the first lady's name.
Angel Karina?
Yes. And Dewan,
No, he is
Was that the-
Marion.
oh, that's right. There was another one there, wasn't there?
His Job Celestine.
Yeah, no contact with any of your co-defendants. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, upon a public defender to represent you.
Antonio Parkinson, his behavior.
I will waive, Your Honor. I don't.
If you find sufficient probable cause in his case, stay the bonds, appoint a public defender, and the bonds are 5,000 count 1, 500 count 2, and appoint a public defender to represent him. No contact. With, he's not to go around the ACAS Cuisine food truck, and no contact with Michelle Diaz Marquez. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Oh, man, come on. All right, your name, sir? Are here today because you were arrested on a charge of grand theft third degree and possession of drug paraphernalia. I have reviewed, that was from, based on an arrest warrant. Bond on that's $1,000 on the grand theft, $100 on the possession of drug paraphernalia. Currently out on bond or form of release on 2022 CF 6374. Possession of cocaine. And Osceola County 2022 CF 1995.
Your Honor, with regard to the Osceola case, defendant was arrested August 2nd. As of today's date, no formal charges have been filed. With regard to the possession of cocaine, 22 CF 6274, formal charges have been filed. Arraignment is set for January 12th.
All right, I'll revoke, that doesn't show what it was, but I'll revoke the bond and put in place a new bond of $5,000.
For which one, Your Honor?
The cocaine, and I'll take no action on the one that's not filed on.
Okay.
Point of public defender.
Possession of cocaine.
Yes.
So you can. Yeah, that's it.
Osceola?
No action.
No action on that.
So how much is it?
They haven't filed yet. So it's $1,000 and $100 and $5,000 on the case that you're already out on. Marion Ricci? All right, ma'am, you're here today because you failed to appear on your battery on an emergency medical care provider. There is no bond on that warrant. And I'll point a public defender if not had previously done so. Jasmine Rodriguez? Michael Rosado Acevedo?
Sir?
Sir, you're here because you failed to appear in 2021 CF 11928AO. And on that failure to appear warrant, there is no bond. Appoint a public defender if you do not have an attorney. Yeah, looks like, do you have Mr. Mandel?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I want no public defender. All right. Delta Rushing? Ms. Rushing, you're here today in two cases, 2021 CF 6175 AO and 4823 AO. In both of those cases, you failed to appear. And there are, in the failure to register your vehicle, there's a bond of $5,000. And on the other case, you already have the public defender appointed, so you have an attorney in both these cases. And in the possession case, it's $5,000 on count one and $100 on count two. So that's two bonds of $5,000 and one of $100, and the public defender's been appointed. Oh, that's right. And also, if you do bond out, you do need to report in on the for the sexual predator. Okay, to the registry. Racing. I was just saying, you are here today because you're arrested on a warrant, probable cause warrant. Are these, where did these numbers come from? Any idea on these bonds? That's not, schedule, is it?
Let me see, Your Honor, because it's aggravated child abuse, I think that's the one that may be a first-degree felony, but one moment. Yes, Your Honor. Ah, come on. It is a first-degree felony. The aggravated child abuse is a first-degree felony. I'm trying, but I believe he is still entitled to a bond.
And he has no criminal history, Your Honor, so I would ask that you consider reducing the bond amounts in this case.
There's a better way of doing this.
Okay. As to count one aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, I'm gonna reduce that bond to, 1,500. Aggravated assault with deadly weapon count two, 1,500. Aggravated assault with deadly weapon count three, 1,500. The two aggravated child abuses, reduce those to 5,000 apiece. And then the child abuse counts will be, 1,000, 1,000. Yeah, no, contact with, I gotta go to the other, hold on just a sec.
It's his sister and her two children, Your Honor.
Yeah. So you're not to have any contact with your sister or her kids. And that would be Shazida, Shazida, Parsadi, Parsadi. And the two children are Guinevere Parsadi and Leonardo Parsadi. No contact at all with them. Not to possess any guns or weapons, any drugs or alcohol. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you. If Department of Highways, if DCF enters an order, you're to follow any conditions on that as well.
Did he? Do you
Oh, it's in the
notice?
car. What's that?
He's saying that he hired who?
Rob Mendel.
Rob
Sorry.
Mendel? I didn't see a notice. I don't-
Yeah, no, I don't think so. It may be that he just hasn't got around to it. He hasn't filed his notice of appearance yet. So do you not want to have the public defender appointed on a short-term basis?
I'm not sure what he's gonna want.
They can always withdraw after Mr. Mandel puts in his notice.
After he puts it in.
Mhm.
Okay,
All right. That way you have someone at least in there right now to talk with if you need to, and then when Rob enters his notice, they'll withdraw. And then he can have the case, okay?
okay.
All right. Good. What's that? Yeah, no contact whatsoever, no return to their home. You can leave that in there. Yeah. Your name, sir? All right, Mr. Smith, you're here today because you failed to appear in 2021 CF 12511AO. Man, it's always when you get near the end. Just keeps. And I'm going to click this and then it's going to crash. Boom, registration failed. Hang on. Close. Reopen. All right, that's a possession of Utilone, grand theft third degree, and possession of drug paraphernalia you failed to appear on. And there is no bond on that, and the public defender's already been appointed. Thank you.
There's no bond?
No, I think there is.
Is there?
1,000, 100, and 100?
Yeah, 1,000, 100, 100. It's a little different than no bond. So you have 1,000 and 100 and 100. Okay? Your name, ma'am?
Sal.
All right, Ms. Sal. You were arrested for charge of aggravated battery with a motor vehicle, battery and petty theft. And that's based on an arrest warrant signed by a judge previous. Bonds at $7,500 on count 1, $1,000 on count 2, and $500 on count 3. If you do bond out, you're not to have any contact with John Kerwin.
It could be John Kerwin. I don't even know that man.
And Smith, Michelle Smith. And no return to 1408 Granville Lane. No drugs, no weapons, not to possess any alcohol or firearms. Okay, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Thank you.
Your name, sir?
Joshua Taylor.
Mr. Taylor, you are here today because you're arrested on a charge of fleeing, attempting to elude. I read the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. Set bond in the amount of $5,000. You're currently out on bond on another fleeing and attempting to elude, possession of cannabis, and resisting without violence charge. But I guess that probably has not been filed on, has it?
No, Your Honor, he was arrested November 4th.
Too recent. So we'll appoint a public defender. I'll take no action on the other case. Your name, sir?
Rich Taylor.
Taylor, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of possession of cocaine, attempted destruction of evidence, and littering. I do find sufficient probable cause as to the possession of cocaine to be $1,000. And attempted destruction of evidence, $100 and $100 on the littering. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. He does? Oh, and also, actually, you qualify for pretrial release. So you wouldn't have to post any bond, but you would have to follow the rules of the PTR program.
He would like the bond, Your
Just
Honor.
want the bond, 1,000, 100, 100? Okay. And we'll appoint a public defender. James Tringali? All righty. Madeline Whaley? Ms. Whaley, you're here today because you were arrested for failing to appear on your possession of fentanyl case. And there's a bond of $1,000 on that. And I will appoint a public defender for you if one not previously appointed.
I don't qualify for.
No, not when you fail to appear.
I didn't.
Looks like you didn't go to court on November the 9th. I think that's when it looks like they forfeited the bond. Let me make sure. I'll check for you real quick. Yeah, November 9th was the date, the court date you missed. Your bondsman knew about it, everyone, your lawyer was clearly there, so it's $1,000. Okay? That is Diaz. Your name, sir?
My name is Richard Lemon.
Okay, what do we find out?
So yes, Your Honor, it was set for a motion for ROR. He is currently on probation, out of Flagler County. He's been in Orange County Jail for 60 days, but we can't plea him to the resisting, an officer without violence until he resolves and deals with his Flagler VOP.
When is that, do you have a court date?
He has a hold, so if we ROR, he's gonna get transported to Flagler, which is what we were trying to do to deal, so that he can deal with that VOP issue, because if not, he's gonna continue to sit here.
Yeah.
We can't plea him.
Hang on just a second. What date do they have for VOPs in mind today? Is it just a December date? Further in the future? Will they give you a January? Won't give you any date? What date do you have? Like the 18th? All right, what I'm gonna do is, I'll go ahead and grant it. And, he'll be released here so we can go there. We're gonna set it for December 16th in my division. I expect he won't be back for that, but you need to keep in contact with your attorney.
Yes, sir.
Because when your case wraps up there, I expect to see you back here.
Yes, sir.
If you don't, that means you burned me because I let you out, right? If you go up there and everything, whatever happens up there happens and you're done and then you walk out, you're like, I gotta go back there. There'll be no bond,
Yes, sir.
okay? And you'll be sitting in jail waiting for this case to get resolved, so just keep in contact with your attorney here and they'll do what they can to make sure
Thank you so much.
they're contact. All right, so you can go. Good luck on there, up there.
He's gonna be transported.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, I'll put it on there.
What happened with, the grills? Their number is 2202-8389.
Oh, you know what?
02-8389. 2202-8399.
What was the pretrial? Did they have a January pretrial for me? Say it. It is okay. So 12/19. So I'll set the, I'm gonna put his case on the 12/19 pretrial. It might have already been there, but we'll put it there for sure. And then Shana can just follow up on it. That way, we're not gonna lose it.
Okay, thank you. 12/19.
Oh, right here? This little tiny line? It's all right, though, so they got two versions.
Yes.
That's because I don't read Chinese. Right here, right there. Well, that one actually says judge. Or maybe that's how you say judge in Chinese. We learned something today.
We're done, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Your Honor, the Haitian defendants are both co-defendants. Can we see them at the same time?
Oh, that
as they
makes
live-
sense, yeah.
As they live together?
That's Carol Pierre. When I was reading, I thought, we should do that. Of course, when it came time to mention it, I forgot. Or they can both come forward.
You let me know when I can start.
I will, yep. All right, come forward. Okay, on the left, your name? On my, you're right, my left. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, did you say what are your last names?
Yes.
Qui non signature nous?
Gerlin
Qui
Oscar.
signature? Qui ça?
Gerlin. Oscar.
My name is Gerlin.
All right, and the other lady?
Et l'autre moun nan?
All right,
Qui
ma'am.
non?
All right, both of you are here today because you were arrested on charges of domestic violence battery. I have read the charging affidavit in both of your cases and do find that there is sufficient probable cause.
OK. Nous tous les deux, nous accusés pour nous arrêter pour violence domestique. Et moins que gain cause probable pour jugement ça.
And I know that you guys were living together at, when this allegedly happened. Do you still want to be living together, or do you want to be apart?
OK, et me connais comme ça que nous t'es supposément habité ensemble époque ça, là ça arrivé. Est-ce que nous toujours intéressés vivre ensemble?
Miss Oscar?
No.
Madame Asker? Non.
Miss Miss Pierre?
Madame Pierre, non.
Okay. Were you both on the lease at the South Rio Grande Avenue apartment?
What do you mean?
Est-ce que nous tous les deux, nous t'es signé sous papier location dans l'appartement Rio Grande?
Miss Oscar?
No.
Who rented the apartment?
Qui est-ce qui t'a loué appartement?
Paul.
What? Who? Excuse me.
I own it.
That's Miss
What do you-
Pierre, you own it? Okay. All right, and so Miss Oscar, do you have somewhere else to go other than the Rio Grande apartment to live?
Madame Asker, est-ce qu'on a l'autre côté que Rio Grande pour l'habiter?
Oui, m'ka loué kay, mais m'ka joindre côté Mali en attendant, m'ka loué kay moi.
I can rent my house, but I can go find someplace to go for a while.
All right. In Miss Oscar's case, I'll set bond in the amount of $500 and order that you have no contact with Miss Pierre.
OK, so pour Madame Asker, moi décidé que ça que faut payer un mandat de $500 et que pas de contact avec Madame Pierre encore.
You're not to possess any guns, any weapons, any drugs, or any alcohol.
Ou pas supposé gagner un zam, arme ou revolver ou bien un bagay qui pour heurter l'autre monde.
You're not permitted to return to 4300 South Rio Grande Avenue, Apartment D.
Ou pas supposé retourner dans l'appartement Rio Grande 43S, Rio Grande.
Although I will allow you to go one time with a law enforcement officer to pick up any personal items you may have there that you need to live.
OK, so m'a quitté aller avec un officier de la loi pour aller chercher ça gain dans là une fois.
All right, any questions?
Est-ce que vous avez une question?
Oui.
Yes.
Okay. What's the question?
Quelle question?
Ça m'a dit pour me quitter, est-ce que m'ka changer adresse point tout ça?
Can I change my address as well?
Can you change your address? Is that what you asked?
Est-ce que vous pouvez changer adresse ou c'est ça demandé?
Oui.
That's what I'm telling you. You have to do. You can't go back to the apartment that you were living with Miss on Rio Grande with Miss Pierre.
Oui, c'est ça m'a dit, on pas qu'à retourner dans Rio Grande que côté tu habité avec Madame Pierre. Ou pas qu'à retourner là.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, Miss Pierre, I'll set bond in your case in the amount of $500. You're to have no
So, madame-
contact with Miss Oscar.
Ok, so Madame Pierre, ou même tout, ou payer un mandat de $500, et ou pas supposé gen contact avec Madame Oscar.
All right, you're not to possess any guns or weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Ok, ou pas ka genyen anken zam, ou pas ka gen revolver, et ou pas ka gen alcool.
And I will appoint a public defender for both right now. Obviously, you're going to probably have to withdraw from one, but just in the interim. So I will appoint a lawyer for Ms. Pierre.
So, m'poal assigner un avocat pour Madame Pierre.
All right, do you have any questions, Ms. Pierre?
Madame Pierre, est-ce que vous avez une question?
Oui, I want to know, I want to know why I'm gonna have a lawyer.
Because you may be, the state may file charges against you for battery domestic violence. At this point, you have been arrested on that charge. And so I'm going to provide a lawyer for you on the short term. It may be that the state doesn't go forward, but at this point, it's important that you have representation.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you, ma'am. All right, thank you.
Okay, merci.
I don't think we have any other Haitian, right? All righty, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good
My
day.
pleasure. Have a nice day.
You too.
You too. Bye.
And now we're moving on to Portuguese. When you can ask them to see for Brazilian Portuguese too, because one time they had that, but they didn't have Portuguese. See if that makes a difference. Sure, but if we can't get one there. They're trying to find somebody? Oh, that's right, then we have Chinese. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go on to Derek Kuntz right now. Of course, we're trying to get the interpreters lined up.
I will waive, Your Honor.
All right. I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond amount of $100. Appoint a public defender to represent Mr. Kuntz. Michael Taylor,
And I will also waive, Your Honor.
set bond amount of $100. Appoint a public defender to represent him. Shirley Blanton. All righty. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Blanton, Shirley Blanton.
Ms. Blanton, you're here today because you were arrested on 3 charges: aggravated assault with a firearm, child abuse, and carrying concealed weapon by a convicted felon. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. The bond in the aggravated assault is $2,500. The bond in the carrying concealed weapon is $2,500.
Yes,
On the child abuse, I'll set bond in the amount of $1,000.
yes, sir.
Now, you were living at the Holly Creek Road address,
Yes, sir, that's my home.
right? And Bryant,
Pull the gun on.
he lives there too, right?
That's my son. And I gave them a place to stay, Your Honor, because they were homeless. I let them stay there. I had to let them leave before. So now I let them come back. The girl just came back. I told her, because I had a problem with them before.
Let me ask you, are they still at that address?
They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be, sir.
Okay, but you don't know
I'm
for
quite
sure?
They probably is, and I'm gonna just go to where my kid is. I'm gonna go where she's at. She's at Leesburg with my niece.
All right, so and that's where I'm gonna go with this. What I'm gonna order is that you're not to,
Go to my own.
you need, well, this is the thing for right now. You
I
need to
would-
have a separate residence from Bryant Blanton, and it sounds like they're probably gonna be staying at your house because They
I
can't,
know, but
Right.
I'm gonna just stay with my kid.
Perfect.
In Leesburg.
so you can return to the Holly Creek, your home at Holly Creek one time with law enforcement. In other words, you call either sheriff or a OPD, depending on where the house is.
Well, how
And they can
do I
go and they'll
go
get you,
about
hold
getting
on, let
about
me
my
finish.
house?
Let me finish. And you get clothes, toiletries, anything you might need when you go to stay with your in Leesburg, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're not to possess any guns or weapons, drugs or alcohol.
Yes, sir.
You're not to have any contact with Brian Blanton or with his girlfriend, what is her name?
Stacy.
Stacy. No contact with her. I'll appoint a public defender. Now, you're going to have a lawyer, and I expect that they'll probably at some point see about changing those conditions if they leave the house.
Yes, sir.
You may have to go through the civil system and do an unlawful detainer to
When
get
I
him out of that house.
When I leave here, sir, I'm going straight to the
Your Honor?
courthouse.
Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, DCF was contacted, so if she could comply with any DCF plan?
We'll do that. And also DCF, it's not her child, but just in case, I'll
Okay.
order that
Thank you.
if DCF has any kind of program plan or order, you need to follow that as well.
What this year they doing this? And every time they come, they let me go. I don't even have to go and do nothing.
Okay? All right, thank you, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
And you are a Brazilian Portuguese interpreter, is that right?
I am, Your Honor.
All right. Your name, sir?
Matheus Nogueira.
Have you been sworn today, ma'am?
I
Interpreter?
have, Your Honor.
All right, perfect. All right, Mr. Nogueira, you're here today because you were arrested on charge of battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging
Você
affidavit.
está...
Go ahead.
Senhor Nogueira, você está aqui porque está sendo acusado de assalto e violência doméstica.
I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause.
Eu fiz a revisão no documento da declaração juramentada e eu vi que sim, que há uma causa provável.
All right, in the box, ma'am, do you need an interpreter as well?
Yes.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You can interpret.
Levanta a mão direita e jure que tudo o que você vai dizer é verdade, somente a verdade e nada mais que a verdade, assim o ajude Deus.
Eu juro.
I swear.
All right, your name, ma'am?
Rebecca
Seu nome?
Rebecca Sion.
Rebecca Sion.
All right, ma'am, you're the alleged victim in this case. Tell me,
Você é a vítima.
go ahead.
I'm so sorry, Your Honor.
Sure.
Please go ahead.
Do you want
Você é a
to,
vítima alegada, então.
do you want to have contact with Mr. Nogueira, or do you not want to have contact with him?
Você quer ter contato com o Sr. Nogueira ou não quer ter contato com o Sr. Nogueira?
Eu quero ter contato.
I do want to have contact.
All right, and are you living at the Peregrine Court address?
Yes.
Você vive no...
Okay. All right, I'll set bond in the amount of $500.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I'll set bond in the amount of $500 and order that Mr. Nogueira not have any hostile contact with Ms. Sion.
Você vai pagar uma multa de $500 e também você não pode ter contato violento ou hostil com a senhora Negon.
That means
Sion.
that means he can't raise his voice to you. He can't throw things around the house. He can't be hostile in any way to you.
Isso quer dizer que ele não pode gritar com você, levantar a voz, não pode ser hostil com você e nem pode bater em você.
And Mr. Nogueira, you understand that?
Senhor Nogueira, você entende isso?
Sim.
Yes.
All right. You're not to possess any drugs or alcohol, no guns or weapons while you are out on bond.
Você vai ser liberado em liberdade condicional e você, durante esse período, você não pode possuir drogas, nenhum tipo de armas, pistolas, enquanto você estiver em liberdade condicional.
And I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
E eu vou apontar representante público para representar você.
Our Ms. Sion, do you have any questions? He can come home, he just can't be hostile to you in any way.
I have a question.
Senhora Sion, você...
Ele vai sair hoje se eu pagar a fiança?
If I pay the bond, he gets out today?
Yes.
Sim.
All righty. Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Obrigada. Thank you so much for using our services.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Come on up. Yeah, let's, do we have? Oh, no, Mr. We need. All right, good morning. Are you, the interpreter there?
Yes,
All right, have you been sworn today?
yes.
All righty. Sir, your name, please?
先生，您的名字
Murphy.
All right, sir,
Murphy.
sir, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of aggravated child abuse. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find there is sufficient probable cause.
先生，您今天呢被指控是对儿童虐待的指控，那我们的指控上面是有这个一个费用发生的。
And I assume that your son, who's the alleged victim, is living at the 6189 Winter Garden Vineland Road address?
那我猜想您的这个受害者的，就是您的儿子，是住在6189 Vineland Road 的这个地址是吗？
So do you have another place to go and live right now?
你现在还有其他的地方可以住吗？可以去到别的地方住吗？
Yeah.
Where would that be?
那会是哪里呢？
哦，地址我离他那个大概也另外一个地方，就是有多远？那个地址我不记得了。
It's another place. How far is that? I forgot the address.
Your Honor,
Yep.
just for clarification, that address is actually for the school.
Right, that's what I just realized. But he's wherever they do live. So we'll forget. I appreciate that. Yeah. All right. So what I will do is I'll set bond in the amount of $1,500. I'll order that you have no contact with Xiaobo. It's XIAOBO. Faye, and that you not possess any guns, alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. I'm sure the DCF, the Department of Children and Families, is involved, and you're required to follow any order that is in place from DCF or any type of plan.
那我跟您说，这个费用是1500啊，今天说的是1500，然后跟这个没有任何的接触，无接触，名字叫做XIAOBO 费肖波费然后不能有酒精、烟、武器、手枪、武器任何接触，然后呢会有学校这边，然后有这个社区这边 DCF 进入来监控。
to make it clear, you are to have a separate residence from your son. You're not to go to his school, and you're not to go to the home that he is living at.
然后清楚的说明你不能跟你的儿子的住所或者学校有任何的接近，不能有，你要住在一个跟他不一样的地点，不能接近学校和他的住所。
You will be allowed to go to your previous home one time, but you have to go with law enforcement, take a police officer with you if you need to get clothing or toiletries or anything like that for you to be able to live at the other address that you're going to be at.
那么你是允许在之前去到你另外的住所之前，在有官员、警官陪同的前提下，是在这个监督下，去拿回一次性的，可以去一次拿回衣服，或者说是去上厕所，或者是说做准备去搬到另外一个地点。
And I will appoint a public defender to represent you, so you have a lawyer. If you bond out, make sure you keep in contact with your attorney.
然后我会确保给你指派一位公共律师。如果你保释出去的话呢，你也要确保你跟你的律师联系。
Okay? All right, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for your time, services. You're very welcome.
Okay.
Nice day.
All right. So much for the interpreter cases. All right, your name, ma'am?
Robin Bodie.
All right, Ms. Bodie, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of aggravated assault with a firearm and domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Make sure. Now, where are you living currently? Well,
At the Knights Hotel.
what is 1901 Talocas Avenue? Is that?
I don't know what that's at.
But you were staying at the Lucerne Terrace address?
No, that's where his mama stayed at. He was staying with me, Your Honor.
Okay. So that's his address?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What address did you give me? I'm sorry. Where are you living?
I'm staying at the Knights Hotel on OBT,
Okay.
South Orange Blossom Trail.
All right. And so, Mr. Robinson's address is that address is Lucerne Terrace?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you have no reason to go back there?
No, sir.
Okay.
Sign this.
All right, set bond in the amount of $1,000. Order that you have no contact with Esau, E-S-S-A-W Robinson. You're not to return to 2100 Lucerne Terrace, and you must maintain a separate residence for Mr. Robinson. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. And that you are, I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Make sure you stay in contact with your attorney if you bond out. That Talocas was a gas station. All righty, good luck. Your name, ma'am? All right, Ms. Cox, you're here today because you're arrested on 3 charges: battery of a person over 65, domestic violence battery, and obstructing justice, hindering communication with law enforcement. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Yep, here we go. I figured there'd be somebody here. Raise your right hand, please, ma'am. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Your name?
Deborah Larson?
All right, and you are the alleged victim in the case, is that right?
Yes, I'm her mother.
All right, and Ms. Cox is your daughter?
Yes.
Are you here to say that you don't want to have any contact with her, or are you here to say that it's okay for her to have contact?
I don't want contact with her.
Okay. Was she living at is Arajo Court, is that your address?
She was living there and she was living with her boyfriend.
Okay, that is your address, though?
Yes.
Okay. And so you would ask that she not return there?
Yes.
All right. Do you have another place to go? Yeah. Where's that?
My boyfriend's. I already put that on the thing too.
Okay.
So I'm returning.
All right, you do qualify for pretrial release. I can release you with pretrial, which means you wouldn't be any monetary requirement. However, there are other requirements. You got to check in with the PTR officer and do some stuff. If you want that, I could order your PTR release. Is that what you want?
Yes.
Okay. I'll release you with pretrial conditions. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, no contact at all with your mother, with Deborah. Actually, I have Deborah and Deborah, so I think that's not her. What was your last name? Was Larson, is that right? Deborah Larson. No return to 4108 Arajo Court, A-R-A-J-O Court. And do you have anything there at all? Any clothes, any stuff like that? All right, you can go back there one time with, accompanied by law enforcement to pick up any clothes or toiletries, but not like furniture or TVs, just the stuff that she needs on a day-to-day, okay?
Okay.
All right.
DCF was contacted?
Yeah, no contact.
No, DCF.
Oh, is DCF? If DCF enters an order in this case of any type, or a plan or anything, you need to follow that as well as part of your conditions, okay? All righty. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Public defender appointed. Your name, sir?
John Clonger.
Okay. All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of domestic violence, felony battery, great bodily harm, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and tampering with a witness to hinder communication. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Just a second. And this is from an arrest warrant that was signed by a circuit judge based on probable cause. Do you have a place to go and live? I gotta get the address now, hang on.
From where the incident took place? Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that would be 401 West Parr, is that right? So you have another place to go other than that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. All right, as to the, get something else too. As felony battery, I'll set bond in the amount of $500, aggravated assault, $1,000, false imprisonment is already $3,000, and obstructing justice, I'll reduce that to $1,500. Appoint a public defender to represent you. No return to the 401 Parr. No contact with. It took a while to get to.
I may have a word.
Is it Kalen Memis?
Yes, sir.
No contact with Kalen Memis whatsoever. Yeah. Yeah, and just to be clear, you need to maintain separate residence, whether it's at that Parr address or not. What was the other thing? No weapons. Yeah, no weapons, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Appoint a public defender to represent you on that, on those charges. Let's see, so you were out on bond. Has that been filed on? Possession of cocaine charge.
Oh, apologize, didn't see it.
So 2022 CF 6352.
Yes, Your Honor, pretrial is January 4th.
I believe he has, I would ask that you not appoint. When I looked, it looks like he has private.
All right, I'm gonna revoke and double, so it would be 2,000 on the cocaine, and what's the other one, 500? At 150, and 300 on the second count. And 300 on the second count on the one that he's out on bond. Okay, and as I said, appoint a public defender for you. All right, no contact whatsoever. Yes? Yep, and 300, I just doubled. Your name, sir?
Charquez Martin, Your Honor.
Hi, Mr. Martin, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of battery, strangulation, domestic violence, battery, domestic violence, and assault, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. And do you have another place to go?
Your Honor, there's a victim.
Okay, let me. Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God.
I swear.
Your name?
Tanea Carter.
Sorry, you have to speak up a little bit?
Tanea Carter.
All right. And you are the alleged victim in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, what do you want to tell me? Do you want him to be able to come home, or do you want him to stay away from you?
No, I want him to come home.
You want him to come home?
Yeah.
Understand, if I let him come home, I can't protect you.
Yes.
And you don't think there's going to be a problem if he comes home?
No.
All right. If he does come home, I'm going to order that he not have any hostile contact with you.
That's fine.
That means he can't raise his voice, he can't throw anything around the house, he can't scream and yell and stomp around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be all right for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, as to the battery by strangulation, I'll set bond in the amount of $750. Battery domestic violence, $500. Assault, $100. Point of public defender. Ms. Martin, you're not to have any hostile contact whatsoever with Ms. Carter. You understand that? Can't raise your voice, can't get upset or do anything, okay? Yep.
Quick question, Your Honor. I'm not familiar with, when you say $750, it's 10%, right, sir?
It depends on the bondsman. You got to talk to the bondsman.
sir.
That's their contract.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Now, if you have that amount of cash, you can pay it to the county and get it all back when your case rolls up. But if you pay whatever you pay to the bondsman, usually that's what they keep, right?
Your Honor.
Okay. You're not to possess any guns or alcohol, any drugs or weapons, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. No hostile contact now.
Gotcha.
Okay? All righty. Your name, sir?
Terry Mitchell.
All right, Mr. Mitchell, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of aggravated assault with a firearm, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find there's sufficient probable cause. That one's here. The 5032 West Washington Street address. Were you living there?
No, sir. I was just dropping my son off.
All right, and so you have no reason to go back there?
No, sir.
All right. I'll set bond in the amount of $750. You're to have no contact with, let's see, does it? Did you say victim?
It's Hazel.
Do you have a name? Because it looks like,
Hazel Mitchell, Your Honor.
okay. You're not to have any contact with her, okay? You are not to return to 5032 West Washington Street, because you said you don't have any stuff there. There's no reason that you can go, so you don't need to go there at all. Now, obviously, you guys have a son together. Has DCF been called in? Do we know?
I don't believe I saw that, but I'll look again.
If DCF does get involved, all right, because you're not going to have contact with the child's mother, so that may be a problem. If DCF gets involved and there's a plan or an order or anything like that, you're required to follow that as well as a condition of as one of your conditions of bond. Okay? Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right. And again, separate residence from the alleged victim, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no weapons, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Carmen Aguilar?
Mental health, Your Honor.
I will waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right, set bond amount of $500. I don't see anyone here.
We do 500 or pretrial release. She does.
Yes, or pretrial release. No return to 2887 Conway Road, Apartment 3. She can go once with law enforcement to pick up items. And no contact with Mr. Lakes. Corey Scott Lakes, no contact whatsoever. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Point of public defender. Yes. Of course, if that was the reason, we wouldn't be. Okay, your name, sir?
Lando.
Last name?
Warren.
All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Raise your right hand, please, ma'am. Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, no?
Yes.
All right, your name?
Viviana Granados.
You have to speak up a little bit. We can't hardly hear you in here.
Viviana Granados.
Okay. And you are the alleged victim in this case, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you here to tell me that you don't want to have contact with him, or are you here to say that you want him to be able to have contact with you?
I don't want contact.
Okay. Are you living at the Millennia Waters Drive apartment?
Now I am again, because I had left and I was staying with his sister, but now I'm back over there since he's
Okay,
not.
so that is your address, the 6105, the apartment?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have another place to go other than that apartment?
But I'll find a place.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to. She's there, you can't be there, okay? All right, I'll set bond the amount of $500. I'm gonna order that you have no contact with Viviana Granados. You're to have a separate residence from her. Obviously, that means that if you can't have contact with her, separate residence. You guys have a child?
Yeah, we do.
All right, if DCF gets involved and they either enter some sort of plan or order or anything like that, you have to follow that also as part of your conditions of bond. You're not to possess any guns or weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. And no contact with her. You can't have anyone contact her either, okay? So that means that at this point in time, you may not be able to have a visit with your kid, okay, until DCF does order or something and that makes it possible for you, because you can't contact her even about that, okay? You understand?
Yeah.
All right. And I'll leave the petty theft where it is. No action.
Stephen Keene is mental health, Your Honor.
All right.
I will waive, Your Honor. Could we do bond or pretrial release?
Yeah, $500 bond or pretrial release. Appoint a public defender. No contact. With Deborah Keene. No return to 10624 Mary Lou Drive, although can return once with law enforcement to pick up items. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Your name? Last name?
Weeby.
All right, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of domestic violence battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Do you have another place to go other than the Palmetto Lane address?
Yes, sir.
You don't?
I do.
Okay, where are you gonna go?
They called someone. It's one of my friend's house, but I'm not sure what his apartment
Okay.
is.
All right. Then I'll set bond, now I can set bond at 500, or if you want, you do qualify for a pretrial release, which doesn't require any monetary bond, but there are conditions you have to keep in contact with the pretrial release officer, and there's some things you have to do. but you don't have to post any money in, and you'll get released today. You want to do that? All right. I release you with pretrial conditions, and you're not to have any contact with Marlon Enriquez and also Anika Hayden. Okay? And you're not to possess any guns or weapons, any drugs or alcohol, and you're not to return to 2255 Saw Palmetto Lane, number 110. Now, I'll let you go back there one time to get clothes or toiletries, anything you got that you need to live at your friend's house, okay? But you got to go with law enforcement, you can't just show up there. All right, any questions?
That's all. Thank you.
All right, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, ma'am?
Kiera Filbert.
All right, Ms. Filbert, you're here today because you're arrested on 2 charges of battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Were you living at the 10903 Mystic Circle?
Yes.
Okay. And is Mr. Belfort living there?
Yes, but he's not on the lease.
Okay, well, if he's there, you have to keep a separate residence. You can't go back there for right now. All right, do you have another place to go?
Yes.
Okay. You also qualify for a pretrial release. I can either let you be released on pretrial. You have to follow some conditions and you have to meet with your officer, but there's no monetary requirement. Otherwise, I'll set the bond at $500 if you'd rather have that.
TR, please.
I release you with pretrial conditions. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. No return to 10903 Mystic Court, number 303, except one time you can go with law enforcement to pick up your items, all right, pick up clothing or toiletries. You're not to have any contact with, is it Gene Belfort? Yeah, Mr. Belfort, no contact whatsoever.
Are we allowed to talk about the baby?
No,
Okay.
not at this point. And then if DCF is involved, which it looks like they are, you just need to follow whatever order or plan they have put into place. Okay, so you can contact DCF about the baby, right? And then find out what they can set up for you. All right?
Thank you so much.
Okay, a public defender will be appointed. Your name, sir?
Marcus Shepard.
Mr. Shepard, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Were you living at the Rio Grande Avenue apartment B?
Yes, sir.
And is Deborah Darreville living there? She's not. Where does she live?
I have no idea, sir.
What about Miss Sapp?
That's my girlfriend.
Does she live there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, then you're gonna have to go somewhere else if she's living at that apartment. Okay? You have another place to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you qualify for pretrial release. I can release you with pretrial conditions, or I can set a bond of $500. Pretrial doesn't cost any money, but there are conditions. You know, you have to, you keep up with your pretrial release officer, and there's other things that they will require of you, but you don't have to pay anything. Or I can just set it at $500 and I'll have my own conditions. Pretrial, all right, release you with pretrial conditions. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. No contact with Vianetta, V-E-O, or what is it? Viante. V-E-O-N-T-A. SAP, S-A-P-P. You're not to return to 3000 South Rio Grande Avenue, Apartment B. You can go back there one time with law enforcement to pick up any items you need, clothing or toiletries, things like that. And to make it clear, you'd have a separate residence for Ms. Sapp, in addition to not having any contact with her. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
Marlon Thurman.
All right, Mr. Thurman, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. You were living at the West Washington Street address or no?
Yes.
And does Miss Roberts live there also?
No.
Where does she live?
Off of Americana and Texas.
Because in the charging affidavit says she advised that she has been staying at the address mentioned above with you due to her inability to pay for her stay at the Hotel 6.
No, she was only staying there for 2 days.
Who's living there now?
Yeah, my mom. We've been there for 12 years.
Okay, well, I'm gonna order, set bond the amount of $500. Order that you have no contact with Nikitra Lachey Roberts, no contact whatsoever, okay?
Yes, sir.
You're to keep a separate residence from her. And that means if she is staying at the West Washington, 828 West Washington Street, I'm gonna order that you not return there. If she's living there, okay? If she's there with your mom, I don't know if she is or not, but you can contact your mom to make sure. If you go there and she's there, you can't be there, okay? You need to keep a separate residence. So if she is there, sorry, you can't be there, regardless, all right, understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna appoint a public defender to represent you. You're not to possess any guns or weapons, any drugs or alcohol,
Yes, sir.
okay?
You get DOC.
Good morning, your name, ma'am?
Ariadne Walton.
All right, ma'am, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find there's sufficient probable cause. Were you living at the Mercy Drive, apartment 47? Is that your address?
Yes.
Okay. And Miss Blount, she was living there too?
Yes.
Okay, do you have another place to go?
No.
As Miss Blount, if Miss Blount is there, you can't be there. Okay? Since she's not here to indicate that she has no objection to you to returning home, I've got to have you somewhere else. Okay? And you, as far as you know, she's there?
She left, but said that she was gonna come back, but I can go home. I don't know.
Well, what I will say is, you're to have no contact with Jermoy, Jermoi Blount, no contact whatsoever, okay? You're to maintain a separate residence from her. And if she is still living at 1462 Mercy Drive, apartment number 47, you can't go there. You're not allowed to be there, all right? No return to there. If she is not, then that's okay, but you need to make sure that that's the case, because you're supposed to keep separate residence. That'll be a violation of your release conditions. Now, you do qualify for pretrial release. I can release you pretrial without having to post a bond if you wish. But there are conditions that go along with that. Is that what you want to do?
Yes. I'll go home.
Do you want a bond or you want PTR?
I don't even know what that means.
Well, bonds, I'd set bond at $500. You'll have to either post the bond through a bondsman to set 500, or you could bring 500 cash or get someone to bring that down here, and then you would get all that money back from the county if you posted a cash bond. Or pretrial release doesn't cost any money. There's no money that you have to actually give up front to be released, but you do have to keep in contact with your pretrial release officer. Is that what you want?
Yeah, that's fine. I can,
All right. I release you with pretrial release conditions: no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and again, no contact with Ms. Blunt. You must maintain a separate residence from her. And if she is at the 1462 Mercy Drive apartment still, you cannot go and live there. If she is there, you can return once with law enforcement to pick up any clothing or toiletries you may need. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. All right, your name, sir?
Dylan Ballou.
Just a sec. And it crashed. All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of violation of probation out of, is it Seminole County?
Volusia, Your Honor.
Volusia County. I'm going to public defender at this point in time to try to get that solved for you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I don't know how much the bond was. Oh. Where are those listed again? Is it like a division? Well, when I go to Q's, it just has all these correspondence. That's because it's my computer. There we go. Go to the next page. It's tricky. Okay. All right, your name, sir? Mr. Cross, you're here today because you're arrested on an out-of-count warrant. The bond on that is $500. It's for driving while license suspended. And it is from Seminole County. Okay? Thank you. What's that? Oh, that's right. If you do bond out, then you need to report to Seminole County, to the clerk's office. Immediately find out when your case is set. Already? Okay. Yeah, it's just written here in big letters to do that, and I completely forgot. Your name, sir?
Chris McIntosh.
Now, Mr. McIntosh, you're here today because you're arrested on a warrant out of Seminole County for the charge of child abuse. The bond on that is $3,000. If you do bond out, you're required to contact the clerk immediately in Seminole County, okay? Your name, sir?
Walter McMillan.
Mr. McMillan, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge, on a warrant from Hillsborough County. And there is no bond on that. Hillsborough County will be contacted to let them know that you're here, and so that they can get you transported, okay?
Yeah, $2,000 bond.
I got no bond. Yeah, it's a grand theft third degree. Let me see. It does say on the teletype 2,000. All right, it's 2,000 on the teletype, but on the arrest affidavit, they put no bond. They put no bond to them right away. So it is 2,000 on teletype, so that's what it should be. Okay? If you do bond out, make sure you contact Hillsborough County Clerk's Office right away. Find out when your court date is. Okay? All right, your name, sir?
Tyler Dickens.
Mr. Dickens, you're here today because you're arrested for 2 cases for violations of probation, and there is no bond on both of those. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you, and those cases will be set for violation of probation hearings.
Christopher Gallup, refused.
All right. There is no bond on those. I'll appoint a public defender to represent him.
Oh, wait.
Your name, sir?
Worley, Sa.
All right, sir, you're here, first off, for in 2016 CF 14175AO for violation of probation. There is no bond on, in that case. That will appoint a public defender to represent you. This computer was doing so good. In addition, if I can get the computer to work. You're also arrested on an arrest warrant issued for the charge of grand theft. And the bond on that is $2,500, and appoint a public defender to represent you on that as well. Your name, sir? All right, so you're here for a number of things. First of all, in 2022 CF 13, I'll start with 2017 CF 2437. You're in a violation of probation, and there is no bond on those. I want a public defender to represent you in that violation of probation. Dang. Last person, and we can't. It's gonna crash again. And also 2022 CF 13810, you're arrested on charge of kidnapping, extortion, and aggravated battery. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause in that. So they want to be heard as to the bond on count 1, kidnapping.
It is a PBL punishable by, first-degree felony punishable by life. I ask defendant be held no bond on that charge, Your Honor.
As to count 2, 2,500, as to count 3, 3,500, and no bond on the kidnapping. Point of public defender to represent you on that.
No contact with the victims?
Yeah, no contact with the victims as well. Is there any co-defendants in this? There is, isn't there? Yeah.
Yes.
And no contact with the co-defendants, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. And PD appointed in those, the violation in that. Oh, these are the add-ons. All right, so your name? All right. These are the pleas, and then there's
And Mr. Carroll is here set for a plea in case number 2021 MM9271AO. Your Honor, the offer from the state on the battery is a withhold, court cost, no contact?
And no contact, no return.
No contact with the victim and no return. And Mr. Carroll would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
all right, Mr. Carroll, is that right? You want to enter a plea of no contest then to the charge of misdemeanor battery, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
Now, there's a plea form she has. You understood all the rights on that and then signed it on the bottom. Do you have any questions about the rights? On this form here, she's about to hand it to me here. This one that you signed, any questions?
No, sir.
You understand that the charge of battery is punishable by up to a year in the county jail, up to $1,000 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yes, sir.
Stipulated sufficient factual basis could be established, counsel.
Yes, Your Honor.
Based upon that stipulation, Mr. Carroll, I will accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication, sentence to time served. You know what that is?
I have no idea what the time served is. That she just
All right,
stated.
since, do we know? All right, since the time served, that's fine. I'll impose court costs, $50 cost of prosecution to the state, $151 battery surcharge, and I'll give you 18 months to get that paid, whether you pay a little at a time or all at once, just got to be paid in 18 months. Finally, you're not to have any contact with, and it looks like there isn't a charging affidavit and the information is redacted, so I don't know who that person would be.
1 moment, Your Honor.
All right, and then also if you could get that no return. Not to have any contact with the victim in the case, and we're going to get that name for the record. Also, you're not to return to the place where this incident occurred.
Red Roof Inn.
Okay, do you understand where that is? Okay, if you do go back there or make contact with the alleged victim, or the victim now that you've pled, at any time in the next year, you are subject to a contempt citation. The court's made aware that you could be sentenced up to 180 days for doing that. You understand? Okay.
Victim appears to be Sharia Jones and Kelly Cologne.
Okay, so no contact with those two. All right.
And then this one is Lemon.
Richard Lemon.
Mr. Lemon?
So in Mr. Lemon's case, Your Honor, 2022 MM 7751 AO, we're requesting an ROR so that he can go back to Flagler County and deal with his VOP. He can't be transported because of the open case he has here, but we can't resolve it until he deals with his VOP in Flagler County. So we're requesting an ROR so they'll transport him to Flagler or deal with the VOP first.
I thought it was a plea.
It was set on the docket as a plea, but all the emails that I have from the attorney-ish showing she wanted it to be set for an ROR hearing. Everybody is CC'd on the email. I don't know why it was set as a plea, but
Well, I mean, when I talked to my JA yesterday, that was how it was couched to her, is that she wanted to add on a time-served plea for today, so.
okay. Let me,
I
because
mean,
that's what the state had as well.
I mean, here's my concern. I get it, this may be the reasons for his violation, and so if he pleads to this, then that makes their job really simple in whatever county that is. I get it. The problem that I have is we ROR him here, he goes there, well, that's it. He's in the wind, and there'll never be anything else again.
Your Honor, I find this to be inappropriate, considering, one, that it was set for a plea, and two, that he does have a bond. It's not like it's an FTA and he's being held no bond. So at best, it should have been a bond reduction to make it affordable as opposed to an ROR.
And I assume he's not eligible to watch the video, huh? Or look at the slides?
Your Honor, can we reset for a second session? Because he was also told something different as far as accepting the plea for his probation. So could we just reset it for a second so I have more time
Okay,
to talk?
yeah, we'll hang on to him.
Thank you.
All right, and then we'll find out. I mean, okay, and then there was one on here, just wonder, we'll see if it made it into the stack. Yes, it did.